All right, let's talk about ADA Cardano real quick. Markets are closed. Let's get an update after the close on crypto, see how things are going. So, ADA Cardano, that's ticker symbol ADA. All right, so for my day traders, for my people looking to scalp trade, for my people running leverage who need these lower time frame moves and to know what's going on, maybe don't have access to legitimate charting themselves, or maybe trading from their phones while they're at work and don't have a trading view account to look at some real charts. Here's where we're at for the day. Basically what we're looking at here is oh, look at that. It's getting worse as we speak. What an interesting time to start making this. I was just getting ready to tell you this was possibly your temporary support for the day. And if you started to lose it, then you could pay attention to these wicks down here from earlier. Always start to zoom out and look left. But you had some wicks down into this area right here. As you see on the left, you had some wicks that brought you down to like 0.3905, and then it seemed to pull back up from there each time and end up in like a 3918, 3920 kind of range. If this is just going to wick in, this could currently possibly be a good time to be grabbing your buy for your scalp trade, especially if you're using leverage. You could be leveraging into this position, waiting for a bounce. That could be a good play. However, that's often what the bears are looking for. They kind of set you up for these, and they came over here, found support, pushed down. They can gauge what that strength took, came in these ranges, started tapping, came over here, started tapping on the same floor again. When you hit too many times, you start to absorb the buying power of the bears. You start to get, the buying power of the bulls. The bulls become exhausted, and this is how the bears get in control. They meet you back at the top, and they sell you back down. And they can often just resell at the bottom. You're buying, they go back to the top, start all over again. And if they're in lock and sync, then it's a tough one to get out of without some real momentum or some bigger players coming along. These bears will sit up here and they'll start piling on the leverage, and unless you can push them far enough to get a short squeeze, it kind of is what it is. They remain in control for the moment. So as of right now, I'd be watching these two lines right around the oh wow, see, that's the problem. You just made a wick of a lower low. I mean, the bears are making progress here. If you wanted to look left, you had these, but they become invalidated now. So you'd move this down, and you now have a wick into this area. And you've got, these are low time frames, but you've got a 15-minute candle body about to close here. If the bulls don't push this back up, this becomes a start of the bears pushing down further and trying to gain some more traction to come down here and grab these bottoms that they were already filling out earlier today on a crash. You see, once again, you look left and you see this right here. You've got 0.3874 was where the two candle bodies, the general range, even 3871, maybe on that wick, 3872, something in that range. And if you want to count this wick, these are your next levels to watch. They already wicked this down, and maybe this is the real bottom you end up testing. Or you'd really hope for this candle over here on the left at the 3875, but maybe they managed to push back down here as they're filling it out. So anyways, if you're in here playing these levels, this is what you're looking for. And if you're looking for an optimistic view that you're buying right here, or you grab one of these dips, and then later on today, as the selling pressure exhausts a bit with the market being closed and crypto's not being dragged down by the S&P and the NASDAQ, it sometimes gets a little bit of relief throughout that evening, especially as most Americans go to sleep and the Asian markets pick up. A lot of times they run it back up. And if you're a night trader, you trade in the wee hours, you can get these, buys down here during our day, sell up here for short scalp profits with high leverage helps, but definitely don't want to encourage people to be using leverage. That's how people get wrecked, especially new traders. So definitely be careful out there, and capital preservation is always important, especially in a bear market. So right here, it looks like we're losing this level. Prior to starting this video, what I was getting ready to tell you guys is your optimistic view is you hold in here and you start to push back up towards this magnet. And if you look at these peaks, the one good thing you got going is you're getting higher highs. So far they're not in control of necessarily the higher lows, but they are just now. I mean, well, if you start off thinking about the main push down, you could say you're holding these and making higher lows, but this wick right here is somewhat concerning to anybody trading this right now. However, back to the optimistic point of view, this 15-minute candle is not closed yet, and the bulls are pushing it back up as we speak. So, I mean, you got a good battle right now on the 15-minute on the ADA. If you're watching the bulls and the bears fight this out, you've got a good one going. So, back trying to get you a game plan. Kind of what I was looking at here, if we can hold this level, is you might play with it for a minute while you wait to see Bitcoin and Ethereum make some moves. And then you should be able to start to push back up. Always look left. You might hit some resistance right here at the 3.9. Maybe you test it down, maybe you don't. But you should be able to start to push back up towards this magnet. However, this line in red is red for a reason. This hammer is here for a reason. This is where I would be worried for you guys. This is where you want to start watching for what's going on. And this is where you start paying attention to, the bad ideas that are going on here. As far as bad ideas, the pessimistic outlook for you, if you're trying to trade this and you're looking to push higher, is this zone right here. To me, is going to be where they start really hammering on and trying to knock you back down, unless you get a major move from Bitcoin or Ethereum, which neither are doing much when I'm looking at other charts around me right now. Unless you get major momentum from them, or some random piece of news is going to come out in the next few hours for ADA, this is your range. You're literally stuck in this little range right now of the day between this 0.3918 and 0.4015. You're basically trading a penny. You're trading between 39 cents and 40 cents. Without a lot of money or a lot of leverage, this is pointless. If you're buying right now with a longer term outlook, not so bad. Anywhere under 45 cents is not a bad idea if you're looking towards the future. I'm talking, minimum of most likely 60 to 90 days out. I mean, could we get a holiday rally that might help you? But really, if you're buying now, you should be doing so thinking that you might not be able to use this money or see any gains from anything that is worthwhile here, especially if you're doing this in a safe manner and buying spot, not using leverage and whatnot. There's really no gains to be made here, probably time wise for 6 to 18 months possibly. I mean, we need a narrative, and we need to get past this full-time crash in the stock market that's dragging everything down. Or, if you get a decoupling all of a sudden, if you crash some global currencies and the banks quit bailing them out and they actually crash, we could get a changed narrative for Bitcoin, which would change the narrative for all of crypto overall with where they're going. And Bitcoin could decouple and become a safe haven. However, as for right now, none of those things are taking place. I mean, we are working on crashing global currencies, and behind the scenes in the bigger picture, I do feel that the powers that be are starting to create a narrative with all this global drama that on a world scale, people are just going to continue to say Bitcoin is safety. It's no longer a risk asset. However, we're not there yet. So as of worrying about what's safe, what's intelligent, what to do right now, if you're buying for a longer term horizon, awesome. If you're day trading this and you're looking to make these moves right now, you're stuck in a tight range. I'd expect a lot of bears to step in up here and the sell pressure to increase. And zooming out, it's always important. I would like to bring up the concept that there's not a lot of support below any of these levels, even going back in time, and you got to go way back. I mean, as of first, let's cover this real quick, I guess, before I go too far away. You had support throughout the June low and the July low right here at 40 cents. We have lost that support. We are now down at 39 cents. So, we're a couple of boxes down now to where we're actually at, and we've wicked way down here. So, if you're looking at the trend of the last 90 days to, even 6 months, unless you go all the way back to 2021 when it ran up, you are making new lows and you are not in a good place. I mean, we're going downward. This is a bear market and we're in a downward trend. So, trying to get back to some of that, let's take a closer look at what happens when you zoom out and you go back in history. All of where we're at right now, from up at that 39 cents I said we're at, there's no real support. I mean, you're literally just in free fall. You see this? I mean, this structure, you're in free fall. We've fallen through all this, and we're now over here landing on this peak before the takeoff in January of 21 when it started to set up to do that. And then you had it was already running by the time the COVID lockdown happened. So, anyways, you look back, look left, and you go back to the peak of 2018, which happened around May of 2018. And then you go to the peak of 2021 that matched up with the peak of 2018 before it sold off and then started running like crazy. What you have is that 39, 38 cent, could even drop down to like 36 or something to get into the meat of the right side, 34, 35. You could also count on 35 cents being a psychological number that people, might have numbers set at for buys. You might find, magical support there, if you will. But sorry, if you lose this structure right here, maybe you could try to find some hope in coming back down here to where these things initiated and to where you kind of had, a little bit of interaction right here on the right in the like 23 to 25 cent range. Once again, 25 cents, maybe a psychological number. You come down over on the left and you take a look, you also had a peak at one point during sell-off where psychological, probably kicked in because there was no prior support to make any sense of it. And you hit around 23 to 25 cents. Then if you, look past that, you drop all the way down to 18 cents before you find on the left and the right any type of coinciding, support or peaks. After that, you've got this, little peak here, but not a lot that matches up with it. You got a little bit on the right. I mean, you could hopefully find support in the 15 cent range. After that, you're pretty quick to 10 and then to 5. So, I mean, literally, you're looking at, in my opinion, psychological barriers more than anything. You'll start dropping 5 to 10 cents at a time. You lose that 39 cent level. Drop down to 35. After that, maybe drop all the way to 25. After that, drop to 15 to 10 to 5. I mean, there's just not a lot of support if you're not aware of that for these lower levels. And for looking back in the past, you really want to hope that this, say, 35 to 39 cent range is your true market bottom, especially if you're holding in DCAing. Otherwise, things are going to start to get painful quickly. You're going to start feeling the hurt. And that's what creates capitulation. That's what creates, fear. And people start just selling at a loss. And next thing you know, selling is in free fall. So just to try to, keep people on some realistic sort of expectations with what they've got going on here and what they're trading, realize that we're in free fall. We're in no man's land, and none of this looks good. These are all problems. These are not things you want to see. And, that's just kind of where we're at. Once again, let's go back here and take a look at this for anybody trading this right now. You can get me a water in a minute. Um, yeah, so once again, take a look at this. This is your levels that you're trading in. And if you're accumulating for a longer term horizon, it's not too bad. If you're trading this right now, these are your levels. If you're worried about how low it can go, it can get pretty bad pretty fast. Other than psychological levels, there's, in my opinion, not a lot of support. After we start losing these major levels, it'll be a story very much like Bitcoin, where if we lose, this 18 to 20 range, where do we go? I mean, maybe there's a psychological level at 15,000, but for the most part, real support is down between 8 and 12,000. And after that, real support is like 6,000, then 3,500 or something. So just, expect that that's your reality here. And it doesn't necessarily take Bitcoin dropping those excessive levels for ADA to drop those levels. A lot of times, what you'll see is far more dramatic moves in your smaller coins than in your, main coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum. Even typically, although it's not as much as it used to be, uh, typically you'd see, if Bitcoin moved 5%, ETH might move 8 to 12%, and, smaller coins might move 15 to 30% just on that same move. ETH has become much more closely correlated to Bitcoin over this last bear market. And at this point, they move real similar, not usually a lot of difference unless one has a difference in narrative. There's times where they've dropped, and I've seen one drop more than the other or one gain more than the other. And there's no exact science to that anymore. So, with regards to, the day trading and anything going on immediately, if you're trading into the evening or tonight, tomorrow, these are your ranges until further notice. Try to get you guys an update later on if we get some moves.